Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hey, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaura Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaura Haribo. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Nitai Gauda Premanande, Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki, Shri Harinam Mantra Ki, Shri Harinam Prabhu Ki, Go Premanande. Nitai Gauda Haribo, 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 Nitai Gauda Haribo. Nitai Gaura Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaura Haribo. Nitai Gaura Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaura Haribo.
Fancy meeting you here. Fancy making you here. Hare Krishna. I like this too much. Is that one of your originals, or did you get that from somebody? What? Is this they from Pune? Ikimasho. Incense? Primo? Oh. Mm-hmm. Hello. Anybody there? Wait. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Sanatan Goswami's classic literature, Sri Krishna Lila Stava, his glorification of the Srimad Bhagavatam, before we read the Srimad Bhagavatam together. It's called Srimad Bhagavatam Mahima Stotram, and it's the 107th obeisance to the Vrindavan Leela of Krishna, offered by Srila Sanatana Goswami. It goes like this. Sarva Shastrabdi Piyusha Sarva Vaitaika Satpala Sarva Siddhanta Ratnaja Sarva Lokaika Drikprada. O nectar from the ocean of all scriptures, singular fruit of all the Vedas, rich mine of the precious gems of all conclusive truths, you are the only giver of sight to all the worlds. Sarva Bhagavata Prana Srimad Bhagavata Prabhu Kalidwan Dudita Ditya Shri Krishna Parivartita. O life air of all the Supreme Lord's devotees, O Master Srimad Bhagavatam, you are the sun risen in the darkness of Kali. You are the exact image of Shri Krishna. Paramananda Pataya Prema Varshaksharayate Sarvada Savasevyaya Shri Krishnaya Namostume. I bow down to you, who are supremely blissful to read. Your every syllable pours down a flood of prema. You can always be served by everyone. You are Sri Krishna himself. Madeka Bando Matsangin Madguru Man Mahadana Manistadagamad Bhagya Madananda Namostute. My only friend, my constant companion, my spiritual master, my great wealth, my savior, my good fortune, my source of ecstasy, I bow down to you. Asadu Saduta Dayin Gana Gadachin Mam Prem Narit Kantayospura. O bestower of saintliness to the unsaintly, O exalter of the most fallen, please never leave me. Always appear in my heart and my voice with pure love. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. And we've reached the 6th canto, chapter 3. Yamaraj instructs his messengers. No? Sorry. It was so good I wanted to read it again. Oh yeah, the Narayana Kavacha. That's right. Just testing. Just see if you're on top of it. Okay. Chapter 8. The Narayana Kavacha shield. Text 1. King Parikshit inquired from Shukadeva Goswami, "My Lord, kindly explain the Vishnu mantra armor that protected King Indra and enabled him to conquer his enemies, along with their carriers, and enjoy the opulence of the 3 worlds. Please explain to me that Narayana armor by which King Indra achieved success in battle, conquering the enemies who were endeavoring to kill him." Text 3. Sri Shukadeva Goswami said, King Indra, the leader of the demigods, inquired about the armor known as Narayana Kavacha from Vishwarupa, who was engaged by the demigods as their priest. Please hear Vishwarupa's reply with great attention. 4 to 6. Vishwarupa said, if some form of fear arrives, one should first wash his hands and legs clean and then perform achaman by chanting this mantra, Om apavitra pavitro va sarvavastam gatopi va yak smaret pundirikaksham sabhaya bhyantarak shuchi Shri Vishnu, Shri Vishnu, Shri Vishnu. Then one should touch kusha grass and sit gravely and silently facing north. When completely purified, one should touch the mantra composed of 8 syllables to the 8 parts of his body and touch the mantra composed of 12 syllables to his hands. Thus, in the following manner, he should bind himself with the Narayana coat of armor. First, while chanting the mantra composed of 8 syllables, Om Namo Narayanaya, beginning with pranava, the syllable Om, one should touch his hands to 8 parts of his body, starting with the 2 feet and progressing systematically to the knees, thighs, abdomen, heart, chest, mouth, and head. Then one should chant the mantra in reverse, beginning with the last syllable, Ya, while touching the parts of his body in the reverse order. These 2 processes are known as Utpatinyasa and Sangharanyasa, respectively. Text 7. Then one should chant the mantra composed of 12 syllables. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Preceding each syllable by the Omkara. One should place the syllables of the mantra on the tips of his fingers, beginning with the index finger of the right hand and concluding with the index finger of the left. The 4 remaining syllables should be placed on the joints of the thumbs. Text 8 to 10. One must then chant the mantra of 6 syllables. Om Vishnave Namaha. One should place the syllable Om on his heart, the syllable Vi on the top of his head, the syllable Sha between his eyebrows, the syllable Na on his tuft of hair, Shika, and the syllable Ve between his eyes. The chanter of the mantra should then place the syllable Na on all the joints of his body and meditate on the syllable Ma as being a weapon. He should thus become the perfect personification of the mantra. Thereafter, adding visarga to the final syllable ma, he should chant the mantra Maha Astrayapat in all directions, beginning from the east. In this way, all directions will be bound by the protective armor of the mantra. Text 11. After finishing this chanting, one should think himself qualitatively one with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is full in 6 opulences and is worthy to be meditated upon. Then one should chant the following protective prayer to Lord Narayana, the Narayana Kavacha. Text 12. Should we chant the mantra, or do you want to play it just to the English? The Supreme Lord, who sits on the back of the bird Garuda, touching him with his lotus feet, holds 8 weapons: the conch shell, disc, shield, sword, club, arrows, bow, and ropes. May that Supreme Personality of Godhead protect me at all times with his 8 arms. He is all-powerful because he fully possesses the 8 mystic powers, anima, lagima, etc. Purport. Thinking oneself one with the Supreme is called ahangraho pasana. Through ahangraho pasana, one does not become God, but he thinks of himself as qualitatively one with the Supreme, understanding that as a spirit soul, he is equal in quality to the Supreme Soul, the way the water of a river is of the same nature as the water of the sea. He should meditate upon the Supreme Lord as described in this verse and seek his protection. The living entities are always subordinate to the Supreme. Consequently, their duty is to always seek the mercy of the Lord in order to be protected by him in all circumstances. Text 13. May the Lord, who assumes the body of a great fish, protect me in the water from the fierce animals that are associates of the demigod Varuna. By expanding his illusory energy, the Lord assumed the form of the dwarf Vamana. May Vamana protect me on the land. Since the gigantic form of the Lord Vishwarupa conquers the 3 worlds, may he protect me in the sky. Purport. This mantra seeks the protection of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the water, land, and sky, and in his incarnations as the fish, Vamanadev, and the Vishwarupa. Text 14. May Lord Nrsingadev, who appeared as the enemy of Hiranyakashipu, protect me in all directions. His loud laughing vibrated in all directions and caused the pregnant wives of the Asuras to have miscarriages. May that Lord be kind enough to protect me in difficult places like the forest and battlefront. Text 15. The Supreme, indestructible Lord is ascertained through the performance of ritualistic sacrifices and is therefore known as Yagyeshwar. In his incarnation as Lord Boar, he raised the planet Earth from the water at the bottom of the universe and kept it on his pointed tusks. May that Lord protect me from rogues on the street. May Parashuram protect me on the tops of mountains, and may the elder brother of Bharati, Lord Ramachandra, along with his brother Lakshmana, protect me in foreign countries. Purport. There are 3 Ramas. One Rama is Parashurama, Jamadagni, Jamadagnya. Another Rama is Lord Ramachandra, and a 3rd Rama is Lord Balarama. In this verse, the words Ramo Drike Chapta, Ramo Drikuteshata indicate Lord Parashurama, the brother of Bharat Maharaj, and Lakshmana is Lord Ramachandra. Text 16. May Lord Narayana protect me from unnecessarily following false religious systems and falling from my duties due to madness. May the Lord in his appearance as Nara protect me from unnecessary pride. May Lord Dattatreya, the master of all mystic power, protect me from falling while performing bhakti yoga. And may Lord Kapila, the master of all good qualities, protect me from the material bondage of fruitive activities. 17. May Sanat Kumara protect me from lusty desires. As I begin some auspicious activity, may Lord Hayagriva protect me from being an offender by neglecting to offer respectful obeisances to the Supreme Lord. May Devarshi Narada protect me from committing offenses in worshipping the deity. And may Lord Kurma, the tortoise, protect me from falling to the unlimited hellish planets. Purport. Lusty desires are very strong in everyone, and they are the greatest impediment to the discharge of devotional service. Therefore, those who are very much influenced by lusty desires are advised to take shelter of Sanat Kumara, the great brahmachari devotee. Narada Muni, who is the guide for Archana, is the author of the Narada Pancharatra, which prescribes the regulator principles for worshipping the deity. Everyone engaged in deity worship, whether at home or in the temple, should always seek the mercy of Devarshi Narada in order to avoid the 32 offenses while worshipping the deity. These offenses in deity worship are mentioned in the Nectar of Devotion. Text 18. May the Supreme Personality of Godhead, in His incarnation as Dhanvantari, relieve me from undesirable eatables and protect me from physical illness. May Lord Rishabdev, who conquered his inner and outer senses, protect me from fear produced by the duality of heat and cold. May Yajna protect me from the defamation and harm from the populace. And may Lord Balarama, as Shesha, protect me from envious serpents. Purport. To live within this material world, one must face many dangers, as described herein. For example, undesirable food poses a danger to health, and therefore one must give up such food. The Dhanvantari incarnation can protect us in this regard. Since Lord Vishnu is the supersoul of all living entities, if he likes, he can save us from adibautika disturbances from other living entities. Lord Balarama is the Shesha incarnation, and therefore he can save us from angry serpents or envious persons who are always ready to attack. Text 19. May the Supreme Personality of Godhead, in His incarnation as Vyasadeva, protect me from all kinds of ignorance resulting from the absence of Vedic knowledge. May Lord Buddhadev protect me from activities opposed to Vedic principles and from laziness that causes one to madly forget the Vedic principles of knowledge and ritualistic action. May Kalki Dev, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who appeared as an incarnation to protect religious principles, protect me from the dirt of the age of Kali. Purport. This verse mentions various incarnations of the Supreme Personality of Godhead who appear for various purposes. Srila Vyasadeva Mahamuni compiled the Vedic literature for the benefit of all human society. If one wants to be protected from the reactions of ignorance, even in this age of Kali, one may consult the books left by Srila Vyasadeva, namely the 4 Vedas, Sama, Yajur, Rig, and Atharva, the 108 Upanishads, Vedanta Sutra, Brahma Sutra, Mahabharata, Srimad Bhagavatam, Mahapurana, Vyasadev's commentary on the Brahma Sutra, and the other 17 Puranas. Only by the mercy of Srila Vyasadeva do we have so many volumes of transcendental knowledge to save us from the clutches of ignorance. As described by Srila Jayadev Goswami in his Dashashratara Stotra, Lord Buddha apparently decried the Vedic knowledge. Nindasi yagya vider ahaha shruti jatam sadaya hridaya darshita pashugatam kesava drita buddha sharira Jaya Jagadisha Hare. Jaya Jagadisha Hare. Jaya Jagadisha Hare. The mission of Lord Buddha was to save people from the abominable activity of animal killing and to save the poor animals from being unnecessarily killed. When Pashandis were cheating by killing animals on the plea of sacrificing them in Vedic yajnas, the Lord said, if the Vedic injunctions allow animal killing, I do not accept the Vedic principles. Thus he actually saved people who acted according to Vedic principles. One should therefore surrender to Lord Buddha so that he can help one avoid misusing the injunctions of the Vedas. The Kalki avatar is the fierce incarnation who vanquishes the class of atheists born in this age of Kali. Now, in the beginning of Kali Yuga, many irreligious principles are in effect, and as Kali Yuga advances, many pseudo-religious principles will certainly be introduced, and people will forget the real religious principles enunciated by Lord Krishna before the beginning of Kali Yuga, namely principles of surrender unto the lotus feet of the Lord. Unfortunately, because of Kali Yuga, foolish people do not surrender to the lotus feet of Krishna. Even most people who claim to belong to the Vedic system of religion are actually opposed to the Vedic principles. Every day they manufacture a new type of dharma on the plea that whatever one manufactures is also a path of liberation. Atheistic men generally say, yatamat tatapat. According to this view, there are hundreds and thousands of different opinions in human society, and each opinion is a valid religious principle. This philosophy of rascals has killed the religious principles mentioned in the Vedas, and such philosophies will become increasingly influential as Kali Yuga progresses. In the last stage of Kali Yuga, Kalki Dev, the fierce incarnation of Kesava, will descend to kill all the atheists and will save only the devotees of the Lord. Text 20. May Lord Kesava protect me with his club in the first portion of the day. May Govinda, who was always engaged in playing his flute, protect me in the second portion of the day. May Lord Narayana, who is equipped with all potencies, protect me in the third part of the day. And may Lord Vishnu, who carries a disc to kill his enemies, protect me in the fourth part of the day. Purport. According to Vedic astronomical calculations, day and night are each divided into 30 gatikas, 24 minutes, instead of 12 hours. Generally, in each day and each night, each day and each night is divided into 6 parts, consisting of 5 gatikas. In each of these 6 portions of the day and night, the Lord may be addressed for protection according to different names. Lord Kesava, the proprietor of the holy place of Mathura, is the Lord of the first portion of the day, and Govinda, the Lord of Vrindavan, is the master of the second portion. Text 21. May Lord Madhusudana, who carries a bow very fearful for the demons, protect me during the 5th part of the day. In the evening, may Lord Madhava, appearing as Brahma, Vishnu, and Maheshwara, protect me. And in the beginning of the night, may Lord Rishikesha protect me. At the dead of night, in the 2nd and 3rd parts of night, may Lord Padmanabha alone protect me.
22. May the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who bears the Srivatsa on his chest, protect me after midnight until the sky becomes pinkish. May Lord Janardana, who carries a sword in his hand, protect me at the end of night during the last 4 ghatikas of night. May Lord Damodar protect me in the early morning. And may Lord Vishveshvara protect me during the junctions of day and night. Set into motion by the Supreme Personality of Godhead and wandering all the four directions, the disk of the Supreme Lord has sharp edges as destructive as the fire of devastation at the end of the millennium. As a blazing fire burns dry grass to ashes with the assistance of the breeze, may that Sudarshan Chakra burn our enemies to ashes. O club in the hand of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, you produce sparks of fire as powerful as thunderbolts, and you are extremely dear to the Lord. I am also his servant. Therefore kindly help me pound to pieces the evil living beings known as Kushmandas, Vainayakas, Yakshas, Rakshasas, Bhutas, and Grahas. Please pulverize them. Chunayarin. O best of conch shells, O Panchajanya, in the hands of the Lord, you are always filled with the breath of Lord Krishna. Therefore you create a fearful sound vibration that causes trembling in the hearts of enemies like the Rakshasas, Pramata ghosts, Pretas, Matas, Pishachas, and Brahmana ghosts with fearful eyes. O King of sharp-edged swords, you are engaged by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Please cut the soldiers of my enemies to pieces. Please cut them to pieces. O shield marked with 100 brilliant moon-like circles, please cover the eyes of the sinful enemies. Pluck out their sinful eyes. Chindi Chindi. May the glorification of the transcendental name, form, qualities, and paraphernalia of the Supreme Personality of Godhead protect us from the influence of bad planets, meteors, envious human beings, serpents, scorpions, and animals like tigers and wolves. May it protect us from ghosts and the material elements like earth, water, fire, and air. And may it also protect us from lightning and our past sins. We are always afraid of these hindrances to our auspicious life. Therefore, may they all be completely destroyed by the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Lord Garuda, the carrier of Lord Vishnu, is the most worshipable Lord, for he is as powerful as the Supreme Lord himself. He is the personified Vedas and is worshipped by selected verses. May he protect us from all dangerous conditions. And may Lord Vishwakshena, the personality of Godhead, also protect us from all dangers by his holy names. Shri Vishwakshena Ki. May the Supreme Personality of Godhead's holy names, his transcendental forms, his carriers, and all the weapons decorating him as personal associates protect our intelligence, senses, mind, and life air from all dangers. Purport: there are various associates of the Transcendental Personality of Godhead, and his weapons and carrier are among them. In the spiritual world, nothing is material. The sword, bow, club, disc, and everything decorating the personal body of the Lord are spiritual living force. Therefore, the Lord is called Advaya Gyan, indicating that there is no difference between him and his names, forms, qualities, weapons, and so on. Anything pertaining to him is in the same category of spiritual existence. They are all engaged in the service of the Lord in varieties of spiritual forms. 31. The subtle and gross cosmic manifestation is material, but nevertheless it is non-different from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because he is ultimately the cause of all causes. Cause and effect are factually one because the curse is present in the effect. Because the cause, the subtle and gross cosmic manifestation is material, but nevertheless it is non-different from the Supreme Personality of Godhead because he is ultimately the cause of all causes. Cause and effect are factually one because the cause is present in the effect. Therefore, the absolute truth, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, can destroy all our dangers by any of his potent parts. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, the living entities, the material energy, the spiritual energy, and the entire creation are all individual substances. In the ultimate analysis, however, together they constitute the Supreme One, the Personality of Godhead. Therefore, those who are advanced in spiritual knowledge see unity in diversity. 4. such advanced persons, the Lord's bodily decorations, his name, his fame, his attributes, and forms, and the weapons in his hand are manifestations of the strength of his potency. According to their elevated spiritual understanding, the omniscient Lord, who manifests various forms, is present everywhere. May he always protect us everywhere from all calamities. Purport. A person highly elevated in spiritual knowledge knows that nothing exists but the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 9.4, where Lord Krishna says, Maya tatamidang sarvam, indicating that everything we see is an expansion of his energy. This is confirmed in the Vishnu Purana. Ekadesha stitasya jyotsna vistarani yata parasya Brahmana shaktis tatedam akilam jagat. As a fire, although existing in one place, can expand its light and heat everywhere, so the omnipotent Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, although situated in his spiritual abode, expands himself everywhere, in both the material and spiritual worlds, by his various energies, since both cause and effect are the Supreme Lord, there is no difference between cause and effect. Consequently, the ornaments and weapons of the Lord, being expansions of his spiritual energy, are not different from him. There is no difference between the Lord and his variously presented energies. This is also confirmed in the Padma Purana. What verse do you think it would be? Pretty good. Nama Chintamani Krishnas Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha Purna Shuddho Nitya Mukto Vinatvam Nama Namino. The holy name of the Lord is fully identical with the Lord, not partially. The word Purna means complete. The Lord is omnipotent and omniscient, and similarly, his name, form, qualities, paraphernalia, and everything pertaining to him are complete, pure, eternal, and free from material contamination. The prayer to the ornaments and carriers of the Lord is not false, for they are as good as the Lord. Since the Lord is all-pervasive, he exists in everything, and everything exists in him. Therefore, even worship of the Lord's weapons or ornaments has the same potency as worship of the Lord. Mayavadis refuse to accept the form of the Lord, or they say that the form of the Lord is Maya or false. But one should note very carefully that this is not acceptable. Although the Lord's original form and his impersonal expansions are one, the Lord maintains his form, qualities, and abode eternally. Therefore, this prayer says, Patu sarvai swarupaya na sada sarvatra sarvaga. May the Lord, who is all-pervasive in his various forms, protect us everywhere. The Lord is always present everywhere by his name, form, qualities, attributes, and paraphernalia, and they all have equal power to protect the devotees. Srila Madhvacharya explains this as follows. Eka eva paro vishnor bhusha heti dvadeshya ja touch chakti pradadvena swayameva vyavastitaha satyena nenamam deva patu sarveshvaro harihi. 34. Prahlad Maharaj loudly chanted the holy name of the Lord. Nrsingadev! That wasn't very loud. Prahlad Maharaj loudly chanted the holy name of the Lord. That was pretty loud. May Lord Nrsingadev, roaring for his devotee, Prahlad Maharaj, protect us from all fear of dangers created by stalwart leaders in all directions through poison, weapons, water, fire, air, and so on. May the Lord cover their influence by his own transcendental influence. May Nrsingadev protect us in all directions and in all corners, above, below, within, and without. Yes, Jai. 35. Vishvarup continued, O Indra, this mystic armor related to Lord Narayana has been described by me to you. By putting on this protective covering, you will certainly be able to conquer the leaders of the demons. If one employs this armor, whomever he sees with his eyes or touches with his feet is immediately freed from all the above-mentioned dangers. Take a look around. This prayer, Narayana Kavacha, constitutes subtle knowledge transcendently connected with Narayana. One who employs this prayer is never disturbed or put in danger by the government, by plunderers, by evil demons, or by any type of disease. O King of Heaven, a Brahmana named Kaushika formerly used this armor when he purposefully gave up his body in the desert by mystic power. Surrounded by many beautiful women, Chitraratha, the king of Gandharva Loka, was once passing in his airplane over the Brahmana's body at the spot where the Brahmana had died. Suddenly, Chitraratha was forced to fall from the sky head first with his airplane. Struck with wonder, he was ordered by the great sages named Valikilas to throw the Brahmana's bones. Valikilas. Struck with wonder, he was ordered by the great sages named the Valikilas to throw the Brahmana's bones in the nearby river Saraswati. He had to do this and bathe in the river before returning to his own abode. Sri Shukadev Goswami said, "My dear Maharaj Parikshit, one who employs this armor or hears about it with faith and veneration, when afraid, because of any conditions in the material world, is immediately freed from all dangers and is worshipped by all living entities." Sounds easier to hear about it than to actually put it on. King Indra, who performed 100 sacrifices, received this prayer of protection from Vishwarup. After conquering the demons, he enjoyed all the opulences of the three worlds. Purport: this mystical mantric armor given by Vishwarup to Indra, the king of heaven, acted powerfully, with the effect that Indra was able to conquer the asuras and enjoy the opulence of the three worlds without impediments. In this regard, Madhvacharya points out, Vidya karmani cha sada guru prapta palaprada anyata naiva prahlada prasanokta palaprada. One must receive all kinds of mantras from a bona fide spiritual master. Otherwise, the mantras will not be fruitful. That's a parallel to the that other verse. What is it? Yeah. How does it start? You look it up. Sampradaya vihina ye mantraste nishpralap. Vidya karmani. So that sometimes people dispute that verse. Find out where it's from. Is it from a Padma Purana? But it's nice to have this other parallel verse from Madhvacharya. Vidya karmani cha sada guru prapta palaprada anyata naiva pralada prasanukta palaprada. One must receive all kinds of mantras from a bona fide spiritual master. Otherwise, the mantras will not be fruitful. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. 2 lines only from the Padma Purana. Samprataya vihina ye mantras te nishpalamata. If one is not actually connected with a bona fide disciplic succession, whatever mantras he chants will not bring the desired results. Padma Purana. Quoted here only. Just now coming? One must receive all kinds of mantras from bona fide spiritual master, otherwise the mantras will not be fruitful. This is also indicated in Bhagavad Gita 4:34. Thank you. Tadvidi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadakshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshina. Just try to learn the truth by approaching a bona fide spiritual master. Inquire from him submissively and render service unto him. The self-realized soul can impart knowledge unto you because he has seen the truth. All mantras should be received through the authorized guru, and the disciple must satisfy the guru in all respects, after surrendering at his lotus feet. In the Padma Purana, it is also said, Sampradaya vihina ye mantraste nishpala mata. There are 4 sampradayas or disciplic successions, namely the Brahma Sampradaya, the Rudra Sampradaya, the Sri Sampradaya, and the Kumara Sampradaya. If one wants to advance in spiritual power, one must receive his mantras from one of these bona fide sampradayas. Otherwise, he will never successfully advance in spiritual life. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 6th canto, 8th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled the Narayana Kavacha Shield. Anyone who claps for this chapter will be empowered by the Narayana. Bravo! Bravissimo! That was heartfelt. I mean, it's just such a intrinsic aspect of the material world that we're assailed from every direction by dangers and adversities and so forth. And when there's any, not even talking about in the Shastra, but any kind of talisman or mantra or guaranteed insurance policy that's offered anywhere in the world, people flock to get it, because the natural condition of living in the material world is fear, because of being so vulnerable. And this is the ultimately the situation in the material world, don't you think? I once tried to catalog all the different kinds of insurance that are available. I put it out in one of my blogs. And it went on to about 35 different kinds of insurance that any normal kind of grihasta person could purchase in order to protect assets. And yet, if you look at it, ultimately, none of them really can guarantee that they'll do it. It's just risk management to some degree. But ultimately, it's all going to be grabbed away anyway, right? What other comments would you like to make about this chapter? We'll pass you the microphone. Madhva, would you relay this back from the 440 relay? That's a baton to the next runner.
I really like this chapter. It's very wonderful to hear how the devotee can be protected in so many different ways, in so many different circumstances by the Lord. How to employ this. It mentions to employ this armor, but it's not clear exactly how that practically works.
Well, one thing is that at the end it mentioned that if you appreciate it, or if you hear about it from others, I mean, just the holy names are there. It's really just a series of mentions of the various holy names of the different incarnations of the Lord, and ultimately, that's all that's necessary, according to the Bhagavatam. Apanasam shrutim gaurandyan nama vivashogranan tata sadhyo vimucheta yabhipeti swayam bhayam. Navina Prabhu, since you're a devotee of the Narayana Kavacha, yeah, you are. Or is that part of the thing you're not supposed to tell? Oh, it's a different Kavacha. Okay. Other comments? Yes.
Just curiosity, you're mentioning that some people dispute the verse on Sampradaya Vihina Ye. Can you elaborate on that?
No, I can't. Sorry.
They just don't accept it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll try to recall some of the context in which I heard about that. But I know some people don't accept it as a valid verse from the Padma Purana or something like that. I have no more to say about it right now, though. Anything else? Yes.
It reminds me of Diti and Kashyapa. Of like, okay, you got to do this, you got to do that, you got to do this, you got to do that. But it's all about Vishnu. It's all about worshipping Vishnu and chanting his name. And so sometimes people like these technical arrangements of how to procure safety and becoming prosperous. But it's just a roundabout way, actually, how to trick people into, for lack of a better word, for worshipping Vishnu. Because if you come straight out and say, hey, just take shelter of Vishnu and just chant Hare Krishna, they say, oh no, I heard this before, it's too easy. It's what's that going to do for you? But when you put something up like 64 of this and 13 of that and 7 of that, and then you got to do this and you got to do that, they're like, wow, and you're doing this every day. Yeah, it takes 2 hours. Okay. But actually, you could just chant Hare Krishna for that time. Not to discredit this, but just...
Yeah.
There is the simple path, and there is the elaborate path, and then there is the very complicated path. But it all points in the same direction.
R.A.D.
Well, I like the part that we have to receive the mantra by the spiritual master, because otherwise, today it seems to be fashion just to chant the mantra, and it works, but you have to receive it by a disciplic succession. I like that part.
Yeah, actually, we don't have it anymore. Oh, the 6, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, 6219. It's about 3/4 of the way through the commentary. You know what I'm talking about, right? This is from the famous verse 6219, in which Prabhupada gave a summary at the end of the chapter 2 of the instructions about the holy name from the Vishnu Dutas. And then here, this section. 629, yeah. I got it. Okay. It says in Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary, he says, of destroying the effect appropriately for the fence, sinning on the strength and offending Vaishnava. The effects of the other offenses will be destroyed simply by continual chanting. Some people make the following proposition: those offenders of the name who are without karma and jnana, and who practice bhakti without hearing and chanting, but have not taken initiation because they have not surrendered to the feet of a guru, are still called Vaishnavas. This is the argument people make. The word Vaishnava is defined as the person who takes Vishnu as his object of worship, according to Panini's sutras. Thus, Vaishnavas are those who have made Vishnu the object of worship by accepting initiation, but also those who make Vishnu the object of worship simply by worship, since there is no other word to describe the two types of people. So the latter type of persons also should not fall to hell. This, however, is not correct, says Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, because one cannot attain the Lord easily without Guru. Then he quotes, Hridaya Hamadyam Sulabham Sadulabham Plavam Sukalpam Guru Karna Dharam. This is the verse that is spoken in the 11th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Through the allegory, maybe, of the Avanti Brahman, is saying that the it's very rare to get the human form of life. Plavam sukalpam gunakarnadaram, that the human body is a boat, and it can take one across the dangerous ocean of the material world. So to get across on this boat, you need to have a captain, the guru, and mayana kulyena navasveteritam. You also need to have favorable breezes in the form of the instructions that Krishna gives in the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. Krishna spoke it at 11, 20, 17. So then he goes on. So he quotes that, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur quotes this verse to prove that one needs a guru. He says, is the translation, having attained the human body, rarely attained, but attained easily sometimes by good fortune, which is like a well-constructed boat, the guru as the captain. Pushed by favorable winds of serving me, a person who does not cross the ocean of material existence is a killer of himself. Therefore, it should be explained that there is no other way of attaining the Lord than by becoming a devotee who has surrendered to the feet of a guru, who will be attained in another birth by the power of worship. But it is seen that a Jamil, without surrendering to guru, easily attained the Lord. This can be explained as follows. Everyone with me? Those who, like cows and asses, make their senses pursue some objects cannot know the Lord, bhakti or guru, even in their dreams. But as in the case of a Jamil, they can be delivered even without guru by chanting the name in namabhasa, without offense. Though it has been definitely ascertained that the Lord should be worshipped, that worship is the means of attaining him, that the guru is the person who teaches about worship, and that those who are devotees attain the Lord. It is also said, quote, chanting the holy name does not depend on initiation, pious activities, or the purascharya regulative principles generally observed before initiation. The holy name does not wait for any of these activities. It is self-sufficient. As well, we have the example of a Jamil, but one who thinks, what is the benefit of taking the trouble to accept guru? I will attain the Lord just by chanting the name. Will not attain the Lord because of the offense of offending the guru, third offense. However, in this life or another life, if he surrenders to the feet of guru after destroying his offense, he will then attain the Lord. Some people say that persons who worship the devatas should be treated like the karmis with sin and offense. Others say that actually that's the main. Those were the main points that Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur said that I thought were relevant in that part, have the importance of chanting and accepting a guru also. He says, okay, there are cases like a Jamil where it's done, but then if you take that as an excuse and you say, okay, I won't go to the trouble of surrendering to a guru, then he says, you can get perfection, but next life, after you take a guru, next life, and then you'll get the mercy of the holy name. 6 to 9. Any other points? Yes, Prabhu?
This airplane where this Brahman's body was?
Yeah,
doesn't mention what the Brahman...
Kaushika.
What was that all about?
He had, it was to prove the efficacy of the Narayana Kavacha. He was just giving it as an example. Because this Brahman had fortified his body with the Narayana Kavacha. And then he died in the desert. So then there's this hotshot flying across, like cruising, leaning out the window of his airplane. And all of a sudden, bang, he just gets stuck in the midair because of the radiant power of the Kavacha coming up from the bones of this sage. And then the plane, he had to crash right into the desert. Right? And that was because that's just to prove the Narayana Kavacha, it has this effectiveness that goes into the bones. That's even why ultimately they went and asked Dadichi, I think. Because Dadichi had that power also in his bones. So it goes right into your DNA. Other things? Yes, Prabhu?
Just confirming from the purport of Prabhupada what Navina Prabhu said, because Prabhupada in 6.8.30 is paraphrasing the whole Kavacha briefly according to the Harinam Sankirtan, that it does the same effect actually. It was very nice there. And also I liked very much, I appreciate how the demigods, how they solved this problem with being overpowered by demons. They didn't just analyze the armies and the tactic and the strategy, but they looked really on some deep level. And actually our daily equivalent of this is like when we go on book distribution, because there are these material sales strategies, for example. This is like we try to materially just improve what we do with our material intelligence and try to sell, let's say, some item. But when we are forced, actually we look at different perspective the whole problem, and we try to surrender. And when something doesn't go well, we do not just go back to the sale menu or something like this. We analyze ourselves, what I'm doing, what's wrong, why I do not have Krishna Shakti, and how to connect with people and how to get empowered by Guru and these things.
I had
I'm sorry.
after you.
Even if you don't do that, we have this clear example. How many devotees have gone out on Sankirtan since 1971?
13,033.
How much money have they collected out in public by putting it into just some bag?
4.5 billion, 360 million, 200.
Something like that. Something like that. How many devotees have actually been robbed?
3.5.
3.5. Who was the half?
Well, they only took half his stuff.
Anyway, it was so obvious. I was once in a parking lot in Oakland, California, reputed to be one of the toughest neighborhoods around in the States. And I was in a parking lot, and I was doing Sankirtan, and I was putting money into the bank. And all of a sudden, I felt like somebody was watching me. So I started to be a little more conscious. And there was these 5 or 6 young teenage kids, and they were kind of all together. It was a gang, and they were like this, sneaking among the cars, and kind of coming in like this. And at one point, I just stood up and I pointed at one of them. I said, "Look, this money belongs to God, and if you take this money, you're going to be in deep trouble." And then I started chanting the Nishingadev prayer as loud as I could, and they all just looked at me and they went away. It was amazing. Proof: the Hare Krishna mantra and the Nishingadev mantra are all powerful.
That was back in the days. We didn't have. They gave us these cloth bags to where we put our Lakshmi.
Yeah.
They just might as well put a sign on it saying "Free money, help, help self." One point about in the Archana Padati, just to continue this thread about the importance of the holy name. And the Padatis, it says that actually it's very important, especially for householders, to do all these pujas, because they contain multiple names. Namanyanantasya Shankitanyat, Bhagavatam also says, of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So when you're doing your puja, you're saying Janardana Namaha, Kesava Namaha, and all these, because you're chanting the name, that's why it's effective, says Jiva Goswami. And he also says, in any ritual, you have to chant Harinam Sankirtan at the beginning, at the end, otherwise there's no use to it in the Kali Yuga. And now, yeah. Any last reflections?
Recently, this year, one of our vice presidents in Pune got infected with a disease and was about to leave body. Sarvalakshan Prabhu. He is a great book distribution, Sankirtan devotee leader. So one of the disciples of Radha Govind Maharaj, in our temple, suggested that we all come together, all brahmacharis. They come together and chant this Narayana Kavacha prayers. We chanted Narayana Kavacha prayers, we chanted Gajendra Moksha, and we did a lot of kirtan. And eventually within 24 hours of day, doctor said he will leave body within 6 hours or so. But he lasted. Now he is very well and he is doing book distribution.
Haribol! And now, and Pune now has become the #1 destination in India for people with any affliction. Okay, now we're continuing. Oh, thank you very much for coming. Hare Krishna. We'll see you all soon, right? Okay. Okay. Thanks for stopping in.
Come back soon.
Hare Krishna. What an enlivening chapter, eh? And it just keeps getting better, because here we go on the next chapter, which is the appearance of the demon Vritrasura. We're starting Just here at text number 1 with His Holiness Kesava Bharati Maharaj narrating.
This is my favorite chapter in the whole Bhagavatam. Or this pastime. This pastime is my favorite pastime in the whole Bhagavatam. Yes. I'm into it. I'm up for it. Chapter 9. The appearance of the demon Vritrasura. Text 1. Sri Shukadeva Goswami continued. Vishwarupa, who was engaged as the priest of the demigods, had 3 heads. He used one to drink the beverage somarasa, another to drink wine, and the third to eat food. O King Parikshit, thus I have heard from authorities. Purport. One cannot directly perceive the kingdom of heaven, its king, and other inhabitants, or how they perform their various engagements. For no one can go to the heavenly planets. Although modern scientists have invented many powerful space vehicles, they cannot even go to the moon, not to speak of other planets. By direct experience, one cannot learn anything beyond the range of human perception. One must hear from authorities. Therefore, Shukadeva Goswami, a great personality, says, "What I am describing to you, O King, is what I have heard from authoritative sources." This is the Vedic system. The Vedic knowledge is called Shruti, because it must be received by being heard from authorities. It is beyond the realm of our false experimental knowledge. Text 2. O Maharaj Parikshit, the demigods were related to Vishwarupa from his father's side, and therefore he visibly offered clarified butter in the fire while chanting mantras such as Indraya Idam Swaha. This is meant for King Indra. And Idam Agnaye. This is for the demigod of fire. He loudly chanted these mantras and offered each of the demigods his proper share. Text 3. Although offering clarified butter in the sacrificial fire in the name of the demigods, without the knowledge of the demigods, he also offered oblations to the demons, because they were his relatives through his mother. Purport. Because Vishwarupa's affection for the families of both the demigods and the demons, he appeased the Supreme Lord on behalf of both dynasties. When he offered oblations in the fire on behalf of the Asuras, he did so secretly, without the knowledge of the demigods. 4. Once upon a time, however, the king of heaven, Indra, understood that Vishwarupa was secretly cheating the demigods by offering oblations on behalf of the demons. He became extremely afraid of being defeated by the demons, and in great anger at Vishwarupa, he cut Vishwarupa's 3 heads from his shoulders. Text 5. Thereafter the head meant for drinking somarasa was transformed into a kapinjala, a Francholan partridge. Similarly, the head meant for drinking wine was transformed into a kalavinka, sparrow, and the head meant for drinking food became a titiri, common partridge. Text 6. Although Indra was so powerful that he could neutralize the sinful reactions for killing a Brahmana, he repentantly accepted the burden of these reactions with folded hands. He suffered for 1 year, and then to purify himself, he distributed the reactions for this sinful killing among the earth, water, trees, and women. Text 7. In return for King Indra's benediction that ditches in the earth would be filled automatically, the land accepted 1/4 of the sinful reactions for killing a Brahmana. Because of those sinful reactions, we find many deserts on the surface of the earth. Purport. Because deserts are manifestations of the earth's diseased condition, Interesting. Auspicious ritualistic ceremony can be performed. Oh no, excuse me. Good thing we have a fact checker. Because deserts are manifestations of the earth's diseased condition, no auspicious ritualistic ceremony can be performed in a desert.
It's the best Harinam that anyone's ever had. There were 400 devotees that went down the Las Vegas Strip. And the devotees, experienced Harinam devotees, said that the contrast between the two worlds was so profound that devotees and even some people in the audience were moved to tears.
Wow.
So amazing.
Wow. There you go. It's all powerful. Persons destined to live in deserts are understood to be sharing the reactions for the sin of Brahmahatya, the killing of a Brahmana. Text 8. In return for Indra's benediction that their branches and twigs would grow back when trimmed, the trees accepted 1/4 of the reactions for killing a Brahmana. These reactions are visible in the flowing of sap from trees. Therefore, one is forbidden to drink this sap. All those maple leaf lummers. Oops. Text 9. Moving right along. In return for Lord Indra's benediction that they would be able to enjoy lusty desires continuously, even during pregnancy, for as long as sex is not injurious to the embryo, women accepted 1/4 of the sinful reactions. As a result of those reactions, women manifest the signs of menstruation every month. Purport. Women as a class are very lusty, and apparently their continuous lusty desires are never satisfied. In return for Lord Indra's benediction that there would be no cessation to their lusty desires, women accepted 1/4 of the sinful reactions for killing a Brahmana. Text 10. And in return for King Indra's benediction that water would increase the volume of other substances with which it was mixed, water accepted 1/4 of the sinful reactions. Therefore there are bubbles and foam in water. When one collects water, these should be avoided. Purport. If water is mixed with milk, fruit juice, or other similar substances, it increases their volume, and no one can understand which has increased. Oh, that's why the dude dwellers know all about this. In return for this benediction, water accepted 1/4 of Indra's sinful reactions. These sinful reactions are visible in foam and bubbles. Therefore, one should avoid foam and bubbles while drinking water. Text 11. After Vishwarupa was killed, his father, Twashta, performed ritualistic ceremonies to kill Indra. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on up there in the heavenly planets, you know, before you decide just to go up there and sport with some heavenly, damsel in the Kanana forest. He offered oblations in a sacrificial fire, saying, "O enemy of Indra, flourish to kill your enemy without delay." Purport. There was some defect in Twashta's chanting of the mantra, because he chanted it long instead of short, and therefore the meaning changed. Twashta intended to chant the word Indra Shatro, meaning O enemy of Indra. In this mantra, the word Indra is in the possessive case, Shasti, and the word Indra Shatro is called a Tatpurusha, compound. Tatpurusha Samasa. Unfortunately, instead of chanting the mantra short, Twashta chanted it long, and its meaning changed from the enemy of Indra to Indra, who was an enemy. Consequently, instead of an enemy of Indra's, there emerged the body of Vritrasura, of whom Indra was the enemy. Text 12. Thereafter, from the southern side of the sacrificial fire, known as Anvaharya, came a fearful personality who looked like the destroyer of the entire creation at the end of the millennium. Text 13 to 17. Like arrows released in the four directions, the demon's body grew day after day. Tall and blackish, he appeared like a burnt hill and was as lustrous as a bright array of clouds in the evening. His hair, the hair on the demon's body, and his beard and mustache were the color of melted copper, and his eyes were piercing like the midday sun. He appeared unconquerable, as if holding the three worlds on the points of his blazing trident. Dancing and shouting with a loud voice, he made the entire surface of the earth tremble, as if from an earthquake. As he yawned again and again, he seemed to be trying to swallow the whole sky with his mouth, which was as deep as a cave. He seemed to be licking up all the stars in the sky with his tongue and eating the entire universe with his long, sharp teeth. Seeing this gigantic demon, everyone, in great fear, ran here and there in all directions. Text 18. That very fearful demon, who was actually the son of Twashta, covered all the planetary systems by dint of austerity. Therefore he was named Vritra, or one who covers everything. In the Vedas it is said, Sa ima lokan arinotad vritasya vritatvam. Because the demon covered all the planetary systems, his name was Vritrasura. Text 19. The demigods headed by Indra charged the demon with their soldiers, striking him with their own transcendental arrows, bows and arrows, and other weapons. But Vritrasura swallowed all their weapons.
Question, why is it mentioned that they were transcendental bows and arrows? They were just demigods. They're not like any information?
No information, except that they're obviously not ordinary human beings. Maybe. A little speculative. We're checking the authorities. Yeah. Okay. Translation. Struck with wonder and disappointment upon seeing the strength of the demon, the demigods lost their own strength. Therefore they all met together to try to please the Supersoul, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayana, by worshipping him. The demigod said, the three worlds are created by the five elements, namely ether, air, fire, water, and earth, which are controlled by various demigods, beginning from Lord Brahma. Being very much afraid that the time factor will end our existence, we offer presentations unto time by performing our work as time dictates. The time factor himself, however, is afraid of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, let us now worship that Supreme Lord, who alone can give us full protection. Purport. When one is afraid of being killed, one must take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is worshipped by all the demigods, beginning from Brahma, although they are in charge of the various elements of this material world. The words bibeti yasmat indicate that all the demons, regardless of how great and powerful, fear the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The demigods, being afraid of death, took shelter of the Lord and offered him these prayers. Although the time factor is fearful to everyone, fear personified is afraid of the Supreme Lord, who is therefore known as Abhaya, fearless. Taking shelter of the Supreme Lord brings actual fearlessness, and therefore the demigods decided to take shelter of the Lord.
And that brings us to the Gayatri break. We'll be back here at 32 minutes past the hour. We'll see you in about 20 minutes. Gaur Premanande Haribo.